right? Maybe you're someone having trouble detoxing or fasting, or you just have unexplainable symptoms. Could it be lymph? Well, you better watch this show because Kelly Kennedy, gosh, one of my favorite people. She's a wealth of knowledge in this area of lymph. And look, in this episode, we give you what you can do right now at home. I mean, these things, and she talks about the right order. Lymph brushing, well, most people do it wrong and they do it out of order, from lymph pumping. Oh, you'll have to watch the show. And then we even get into these devices that cause me to sleep around her office. Doesn't sound very righteous, but you're gonna have to watch the show to know what I mean by that. Check it out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm Ashley Smith, and today we are devoting this show to our lymphatic system, which is such an important piece of our health. Our expert today is Kelly Kennedy, who is the queen of the lymphatic system, focusing on helping her clients relax, heal faster, and open their hearts to true wellness. And she's here to share her knowledge with all of us. So let's get started and welcome Kelly Kennedy and, of course, Dr. Pompa to the show. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much for having me. I don't want to overspeak on Dr. Pompa, so thank you so much, Ashley and Dr. Pompa, for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
She's more than the queen of lymph. She's the queen of other things too. Trust me on this, and you'll see that during the show. So, oh, Kelly, you are the wealth of knowledge on lymph, really. I mean, you taught it at one of my seminars, and my doctors absolutely loved the information. I hate to back all the way up into the most basic thing, but, we have a lot of practitioners and doctors that watch the show and a lot of just lay folks. What the heck is lymph and what does it do? Let's start there.
Okay, so thank you. That's a great question, of course. Never a dull question from Dr. Pompa. But the lymph is, we have lymph fluid in our body. We have 3 times as much lymph fluid as we do blood. And it's important when we do our cellular detox that those toxins come out and flow out of the body. And that's done through the lymphatic system. And we have a network throughout our whole body, from our head, which they're called glia lymphs, literally down to our toes, where there's chains or vessels of lymph, kind of like our artery and vein system, and then nodes, which are a little bit bigger areas, kind of like the organs, if you will, where that is the lymph nodes are really the place in the body where the immune system identifies what the pathogens, the toxins are, and then based upon that will then produce the proper white blood cell, which is our fighter cells, to go after it. So the lymph is super important because then it dumps into our cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system cleans that and changes that blood, obviously, and then it dumps it through the liver, the kidneys, the blood, if you're still in the bleeding stage, and breath and urine. So we sweat it out, we pee it out, we poop it out, and we breathe it out, basically. And if you're still bleeding, then you bleed it out. But the lymphatic system doesn't have its own pumping system.
Right.
And that becomes the issue. The lymph, most people, as you know, Dr. Pompa, unfortunately don't know about the lymph system, right. Whether they've been to medical school or even massage therapists, which are supposed to be the ones that know about the lymph. They get about 4 pages of lymph and yet 27 pages on the cardiovascular, the endocrine system. Exactly. And the lymph, unless somebody's had cancer, they might not even know that word, the lymph. And yet, sure. Everybody right now is talking about immune system. How do I boost my immune system? For giggles the other day, I typed into Google, Wikipedia, how do you boost your immune system? Are you ready, Dr. Pompa?
Can't wait.
Exercise, drink water,
lymph,
sleep well,
eat
your vegetables. Which are good, but that is a very limited list of how you could boost your immune system, a very limited understanding.
Right. And when people hear that too, it's like, okay, I'm exercising, sometimes I eat good, I'm sleeping, and it's like, okay, give me something that I can actually change. And by the way, though, funny thing is all of those things actually affect the lymph,
That's right. That's right.
So, I have to, I always think if I'm sitting there watching this, right, it's like, well, how do I know I have a lymph problem? Number one, it doesn't have a pump system. So we know God doesn't make mistakes. So why do so many people have lymph challenges? Okay, but start with the first question. How do I know that lymph could be why I don't feel well?
So primarily, I don't sleep well. I don't poop well. I don't sweat appropriately enough. I have skin rashes. I have headaches. I have fatigue. I have a general malaise, digestive issues. Is that the majority of the clients that we talk to and our doctors talk to right there?
Absolutely. Now, what about like, okay, your medical doctor would, finally when he sees bumps on your neck perhaps or under your arms, would go, oh, that's a lymph problem. Number one, what would he do about it? And number two, when you actually have that, what does that mean? Because, now that it's expressing itself like that, is that a big problem?
So, fantastic question. I've never been asked that question. Thank you for that. So, first of all, the swollen lymph in your tonsils and your axillary and your armpits, yes, medical doctors will palpate that and go, oh, you got to do something for your lymph. And what they're typically going to do is take out your tonsils. And the tonsils are the gatekeeper to the lymphatics. And our brain dumps toxins every single night, and the tonsils decide what comes out.
Okay, and I have to interrupt you because you taught me this, okay? You said, think of your head as the top of an hourglass, not just your neck, but the tonsils as the skinny part of an hourglass, and then the rest of your body, meaning that this doesn't get down here without that. And by the way, we know now that like at night, to have proper deep and REM sleep, the lymphatic system has to drain the head, and the brain now we know has a lymphatic system. And this is all like the last 10 years of research that we just learned this. But okay, so I had to give them that analogy because I thought that was impactful for me.
I appreciate that. So yeah, I look at the body as a very specific hourglass. The top is the head, the neck is the aperture in the middle, and the bottom is the rest of the body. But this hourglass doesn't get flipped. The hourglass always stays like this. Right. And your food goes in, your water, all your stuff goes in the head, and everything comes out the bottom, right? You poo, pee, and sweat. Poo, pee, and sweat out the bottom. But only if that doesn't work, you can't expect anything to come out of the head because everything goes in that direction. Mm-hmm. So if the head wants to drain, which is what we want to do, we want to get the brain detoxified every night, because if brain doesn't detoxify, it can't tell the rest of the organs to do its job. It's kind of like the master chief, right? And so if the brain isn't detoxified, well, the brain wants to dump, but the tonsils don't work, aren't there? Well, then nothing's going to drain. Well, but before that, you got to make sure all the pee and pooping and sweating works. So you got to make sure all this drains out, then this works, then this will drain. And that's the hourglass of true wellness. But so the other things that clog the lymph, that make the lymph thick, because lymphedema is a condition that's diagnosable by a medical doctor. It doesn't mean that you have to wait for a lymphedema to say I have lymph stagnancy. So I wore this specific outfit today for the Cell TV because I wanted to show people what a pit looks like versus a puff. Because there are pits and there are puffs, and regardless of your size, regardless of how well you exercise, you can end up with a pit. And we have a little story about a pit too, actually. I just forgot about it till just now. But the armpits you want to have, like I have a lot of really thin people, but I ask them to open their arm and their armpit kind of goes convex.
Right.
Instead of concave, which is lymph stagnancy.
Puffy pits, bad sign.
Puffy pits. Yeah. And lymph is very superficial. It's just below your skin, and you can start to feel like little beads under your skin and in your groin area specifically that feel like sesame seeds. That is lymph stagnancy. And so oftentimes people are like, well, I rebound and I dry brush, and please dry brush by the way that I teach, by the one we're
going to talk about that, though. I want you to tell them the right way, because people do it in the wrong order. So
they really do. So the lymphatics are sedentary if we're sedentary. They don't move unless we move. And I know you're really good at encouraging people to go outside more, to breathe fresh air, to move that body, which absolutely helps their lymph. However, if there's heavy metals, if there's retroviruses and bacteria and other microbes living in that lymph fluid, it's not fluid anymore. It becomes thick. Instead of like water, it's like gelatinous, like, so it doesn't flow. So it's kind of like a dam that gets plugged up. You got to get the plug out.
Right.
When you get the plug out, then your rebounding, your dry brushing, your walking, your yoga, your upside down will help. But oftentimes for the clients that you see and a lot of your practitioners see, they've been in chronic illness for a long time. And they don't poop well, they don't sleep well, so their lymph isn't working well. So they've got to do some manual pumping, which I'm happy to offer everybody. That's free. We teach people how to do that now. That used to be we only taught practitioners, but during COVID, we were like, it is a international crisis. We got to get this information out there. So we offer that for free now on our website, where people can learn how to do the manual and pumping that we used to teach practitioners to be able to get people to do their lymph. So we'll make that available to your base.
Yeah, I mean, we'll offer that. Ashley, we'll put that in the show notes for sure, so people can do that, because
it's simple.
I want my viewers to understand that they can do these things, right? I mean, that they can do these things and open up their detox pathway.
And they can do it on their children.
Yeah.
They can do it on their children, because I have a 7-year-old and he's not vaccinated. And when he would go to school, he would often, back in the day when he went to school in a brick and mortar school, he'd come home and oftentimes he'd have little lymph nodes that were little swollen. And that's a good sign. That's his immune system working on all the crap that all the other kids had in. But, as a lymph therapist, I didn't really want him to have large lymph nodes, because I knew his body was working. It didn't have enough. So I'd manually pump his lymph. And now I'm using the flow cream from Dr. Klinghardt and from Sophia Institute, because that helps tremendously with the manual pump, because it gets that flow moving in the lymphatics. And often digestive issues too. You can manually pump the lymph. Here, I'll stand up for a second so I show everybody that. So you can manually pump the cisterna, which is an area in your abdomen. It's about between your belly button and your sternum, about halfway. There's this little area, and you just pump it a little bit. And your inguinals, sorry, I don't mean to be off camera, and your inguinals right in here, so that everything flows.
You wore those pants on purpose, by the way.
I did. I wore my flowy pants so that people could understand that that's how the body should move. And it's not hard pumping. Like, I don't want people to go in and push. This isn't muscle work we're doing. This is gentle, just pumping of the lymph. So the lymph starts to flow.
So how long do we have to, I'm on that spot, I'm just pumping gently. And how long do we have to do that for? 5 to
10 pumps per spot.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, but now hold on a second. You're in new spots, and is there an order to the spots? So let's talk about that. Yeah.
So these are the most important spots. These are your termini. These are your end points, and it's right above your clavicles, your collarbones, and you just gently pump, kind of in a little circular towards your back position. I don't lift my fingers necessarily. I'm just like pumping and flowing it. So once that's open, the way I look at it, is we have toll booths in Philadelphia, right? So we have toll booths and then we have exits. These are the toll booths. And if you don't open the toll booths, none of the traffic is going to go through. So you got to open up the toll booths.
Spot, you're saying.
If you do no other spot on your body, this is the spot you do. This is the most important lymph area outside your tonsils, but your tonsils drain into here. So you got to open this first. Because when people traditionally taught dry brushing, they taught it from the concept that if this is my toll booth and I have stagnant lymph, okay, that means my toll booth is closed. So what does that mean? I have traffic backing up. So let's say I have 50 cars behind on the toll booth. So their job, what they taught traditionally, was to move the 50th car to get it to go through the toll booth. But that kind of leads to a backup and a pileup. So what we do in our training is we go open up the toll booth, then move the car that's closest to the toll booth and get that one to go through, which is your tonsils, which are the gatekeepers to lymph, which help drain the brain. So they're also the most important car after I get that toll booth open. Then I'm going to work this area in my chest, my apical node, it's called. And I'm going to work this. And we teach you how to do this on that worksheet. And you just pump gently with your other hand. And now that drains into here. Now this car's empty and this car's empty. Now I have room around my toll booth. Are you with me?
Yep.
Now I can start to pump that, accelerate my armpit, and I can just go under my armpit, put a couple fingers in, and I just gently, again, it's not pulling, it's pumping. And I just pump that lymph node a couple times, and I get it to drain in here. And then I drain my inner elbow, which relates to my autonomic nervous system, my sympathetic and my parasympathetic, deeply important. You find as you do this, you start to relax. It helps people go to sleep. And then that drains into this. Then I'll do my other side.
Speaking of sleeping, remember when Marilyn and I came to your clinic? She worked our lymph on these different things. And by the way, she has like every cool apparatus, right? And, all like lymph related. It was so fun, but I slept. Like I wasn't even tired. I'd come in and then like before I know it, I was like asleep again because
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was it's all like parasympathetic stimulating, right? It's like I kept like falling asleep. Like I said, I slept around your office, and I assure you, I didn't touch any female in that office. I promise you, my wife was with me.
And I assure you, I use that joke all the time because it was one of the funniest jokes I'd heard in a long time. I tell everybody, it's my claim to fame. Dr. Pompa slept around my office.
Yeah, I did. I really
and
did.
Mary Lee was here, so it was all platonic.
And we're going to get to those really amazing devices that, you've taught my doctors to bring in their office, and people will have an opportunity. They can come see you. You have an office in Philly and you have one in South Carolina.
Yep.
So anyways, we'll make sure that they have access to you, because if you want to go sleep around our office like I did, but I have sent many of my clients to you as well that have lymph stagnation and, hey, there's Marilyn to say hello.
Yeah. I owe you like a phone call, a Voxer, like.
Oh yeah, she's sending all the Voxers to Daniel's Voxer, so he's getting those. Anyway.
How are you?
Good to see you.
See you.
Yeah.
Okay, you lay. I got to cut this off, or we got to get to the information.
Okay, we'll catch up.
All right. Yeah. See, this is about them, not you two. So I had to cut that off. Otherwise, you could have went south really fast. Anyways, so the bottom line is that literally like these devices, just like I'm telling you, they open you up, and it does in fact put you to sleep. But okay, so let's back up, because that's the end of like, okay, people that have severe issues, they can go to your office, or an office that was trained by you. But
right.
Okay, so I'm assuming that lymph brushing is following a same sequence. And how does this differ from lymph brushing? Lymph pumping is.
So pumping is going in to unclog that dam that's got a little plug in it. It's going to take the plug out. And then the brushing will actually be effective. I had clients for years using rebounders and dry brushing, and it didn't make any noticeable difference in their clinical experience, nor in any of the regulatory testing that we were doing. So when I started to employ this manual pumping was the first thing I started to do. And I'm like, whoa, that's making changes. And then based upon that training, I went, well then, because I appreciate you calling me the lymph queen, and I appreciate that, but we both know that I have a lymph goddess out in New Zealand, Desiree DeSpong, who taught me everything I know about lymph and continues to teach me. And I continue to read, of course, but she is the lymph goddess. Yeah. But the lymph is really something that not a lot of people are really looking at, which is such a shame, because when you employ this, especially when you're doing detox, especially when you're doing cell detox, or you're doing intermittent fasting, or any fasting of which you're such an extreme expert on, that is all dumping into the lymphatics, and it'll only make you go through the process so much faster. A lot of our clients or practitioners go, oh, I don't want to get a Herxheimer reaction. Well, then move your lymph. I don't deal with Herxheimers. I don't like Herxheimer reactions. I am adamantly opposed to them. And if you move the lymph, the system doesn't get overwhelmed, because you and I both come from the same philosophy. The whole job of our body as a human being is to get the toxins out faster than they're coming in. Mm-hmm. Lifestyle changes, getting the body to work for us with autophagy and with lymphatic movements and so forth. So if we can get everything to drain out faster than we're putting it in, then we win. Right. And then we're not worried about viruses coming to attack us, because we're standing strong knowing that we've enhanced our ability and optimized our our immune system so that whatever it comes across, it's going to come in like water off a duck's back and just fly through. Because my immune system is enhanced, your immune system is enhanced to do this job. You know, I firmly believe that the entire body is the immune system. Its job is to survive. There is no separating out a system. The whole working unit is an immune system to survive. And if it's up against the glyphosate and the processed foods and the stress, which you and I both know is the bigger problem now than the virus, is the stress, the emotional issues that this whole thing has caused of putting people in this, I'm in fight flight mode constantly. I've got to constantly wear my mask, and that person coughed and they sneezed, and everybody is just so stressed, and that is doing the opposite of boosting our immune system. And that stress thickens the lymph.
In a perfect world, the lymph takes care of itself, our daily movements, et cetera, but we're overcome with physical, chemical, emotional stress, and then we're stagnant all day. I mean, all of it is, then we're in a sympathetic mode. Parasympathetic mode is what we need to be more of. So it's not working. And then therefore, then it backs up the whole train, if you will. So, okay, so let's just, I want my viewers to really get a grasp of this. Okay, so you said start here. Okay, pump. Like you said, maybe, 5 to 10 pumps.
5 to 10 circles, little circles. Okay, we've already pumped our lymph so much, just talking to them, it's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, there. Okay, and then you said go, hit
outside the tonsil area.
Okay, up here. Okay, so this is the second area. Okay, then the third area.
Apical node.
Right here on each side, of course.
And this is going to be on the worksheet with pictures.
Okay, so and can you do both at the same time?
I would do one.
All right, okay.
Then the other.
All right, then the armpits. Now, when do you do this one? When do you do
So after the armpits and the inner elbow, then it's cisterna.
Okay. Oh, right. Armpits, inner elbow, cisterna. Got it.
Cisterna. Because all of this, so you're right. Oh, we didn't go over this. My right side. My right hand, my right on top of my clavicle drains the right side of my head, my right arm, and my right thorax. That's it. That all drains here. My left side drains my left arm, my left side of my brain, my left thorax, and the entire rest of my body drains here. It all fed from the cisterna. So all the lower body feeds up to the cisterna, and then it goes up to the thoracic duct that ends right here above my left clavicle. So this is, to me, like first, second, third of importance. Okay.
Now,
then, sorry, got a little excited there with my movements.
I was getting a little excited there. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
And then we do the inguinals. So these are not the best pants to show you inguinals, but that area where you bend. Wherever we bend is where we have the highest concentration of lymph nodes.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
So you pump in the inguinals, and then you can pump behind the knees for a lot of people that have lower lymphedema or even just swelling. Some people just have swelling when they go on planes or they don't walk or they sit at their desk too much or whatever. So just pump the back of your knees, just gently, because in body work area, this is called the danger zone. And the reason it's the danger zone is solely because it's a very tender area for your lymph. And then the area around your ankle.
Now, okay, so
and that's it. And I always end back here.
Oh, and end back there. Good.
Just to make sure that the toll booth stays open.
That's the lymph pumping. Now the lymph brushing. You said it would be better to do it next. So take us through the proper lymph brushing.
So it's basically the same movements, but I find you can either use a brush. If you don't have a brush, you can even use like a rough washcloth that has got like a rough surface to it. And you're just going to start here and brush it.
Down a little bit. We're getting a little bit of blowy feedback. There you go.
Sorry. And if you can't use an actual brush, you can just go ahead and use a really rough like washcloth.
Okay.
And that'll be a little like abrasive. You don't want your skin to be red. I find most people push too hard for the lymphatics.
Oh yeah. Well, first time I learned about like brushing, first of all, I was sick at that time, and I literally like took the first layer of skin off because I overdo everything, only to learn later it's like that made it worse, not better. So anyway.
Yeah, less is more
Right.
with the lymph. So your
Right.
skin should get a little pink, but not red. So you're just brushing the lymph, and you're always brushing in the direction of the heart.
Okay. So do you start here again, right?
Start here.
And
So I'm brushing toward the heart.
Okay, that's right. So, and you brush in that direction toward the heart. Okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, that's toward the heart, but that one technically, it's draining this way toward the heart. So, okay.
Yeah, you're just going in that direction,
And then go up here. Then hit those, right? So
Yep.
this, and then come back down here again.
And then do this
Towards
with a
the
brush.
heart, towards center, just right
Towards center.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And then
Towards
then from
midline.
here, right? Then from here. Okay. Now, what about down here? Then we're going toward up. Again.
Now you're going up, and
Right.
here always towards the center.
Always towards the center. Always towards the center.
Think about if this is the hole that I got to fill.
Right.
How and it's
Got it.
water. What's the easiest way for it to get in there?
Yeah, that's easy. That's good. And then the inguinals, but towards the thing. Okay.
Yep.
So how long should that take?
10 minutes total
All right.
to do pumping and dry brushing.
Yeah. See. Okay. See, that's really that's easy. People can do that, right?
That's so easy.
Yeah.
That's and we do say dry brushing. This isn't do this in the shower because
Right.
you need the little bit of tension on your skin to create this. And I do recommend that they do it in their bathtub or shower because it does shed a lot of skin cells
Right.
and exfoliates you, and you look down and that can be a little gross at times. So you want to do it in the shower so you can rinse it all away.
Good idea. And okay, so and where can I get a dry? I know you said the washcloth. That's a great idea if you don't have it, but maybe someone wants a brush.
Yeah, I mean, we do sell them on our website on notmeds.com. But honestly, I hate to say it, but like Bed Bath & Beyond, you can go get a simple brush. They're not that big of a deal. It's
perfect.
and if you look at our website, I mean, you shouldn't be spending more than $10 to $12 on a brush.
Okay.
They're not. It's not meant to be a huge piece of equipment. It's just the concept of a brush. Everybody's seen. I should have one here. Sorry, the brush with the nubs on the other side. That's what you're looking for. You can either use the brush or the nubs.
All right. Yeah. Good. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So this is home care, and of course we have supplements. I could put some of those in the show notes too. I want this to be about stuff we don't talk a lot about. So what else does someone know? You mentioned trampolining. People are going to ask about that. Now, I think I heard you say, don't do that until you do this.
Well, what I have found, in all honesty, Dr. Pompa, is that when people don't do this first, they don't feel an effect from doing the other.
Okay.
And you and I both know nobody's going to do anything until they feel it long term.
Right.
And so I want to make sure that people stay with this. So don't bother to do the rebounding, the dry brushing until you do the manual pumping, because you got to unplug it.
Okay.
Then once you unplug it, things will flow. If I just try to flow, it's still plugged. It's not going to get through it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, doing this while you're on some supplements, and I like changing and rotating supplements. So I'll have Ashley put some of those in the show notes that we've used, that Kelly and I have used for years, and then add it to this process. Okay, now let's go beyond. Let's go to the person who's really having issues, lymphatic, majorly blocked. These are the ones that I would recommend contact you. These are the ones that I'd recommend. And I've sent them, right? Where I know, okay, this person's really bad. I'm worried about getting a cavitation done because their lymph's blocked, right? Okay, so let's talk about some of the devices that they can use that you've helped my doctors put in their offices. And matter of fact, doctors watching will put the links for some of these, because if you don't have them in your practice, you might want to get them. So talk about some of these really cool things that we've used.
So we use the vibration platform, which I know you recommend, and the double RRT. I mean, it's RRT, but you need two of them, not one, to really move the lymph in the fascia. Mm-hmm. And then we use Flow Prezzo, which was designed by my friend in New Zealand, which is a suit that wraps you up wraps up your legs, your feet, your abdomen,
So
your arms.
explain one at a time.
Sure.
Start with whichever one you want.
The vibration platform, there's different kinds. Is there one specific you recommend, Dr. Pompa?
Yeah, no, I mean, you have one. I mean, the Lifetime is one that a lot of our doctors use as well. But.
Yeah, I can't even, it's Solo Flex is the one that we use. So it's a specific vibration that's going to move your lymph. You know, we said earlier that the lymph doesn't have its own pumping system. So what the vibration does is it creates a little movement for your lymphatics. In all honesty, you can also just cause a little goosebumps, or we know that the muscle's called erector pili, which is a much better and cooler name. But by creating goosebumps alone, that'll start to move your lymph. Yeah. So if you don't know what else to do.
We used to use the vibrating machines for postural correction when people would get itchy. This thing makes me itch. I said, your lymph's blocked. It was a sign that your lymph is blocked.
And when you do inversion, and you itch, that's a sign that your lymph is blocked. So vibration, just getting your body to vibrate. So whether that's rebounding, a vibration platform, or even sometimes I have people sit on an exercise ball and just do this.
Right.
And just bounce, just get your body to move a little bit. So that's vibration. The RRT, which is rapid release technology, which I know that you are very versed in as well. I have 2 of those, and I use those all over the body to stimulate and open the fascia and to stimulate the lymph. And we didn't talk about fascia.
We were going to get to fascia. Yeah, exactly. That'll be our next topic after we kind of get through these devices.
So the lymphatics for the RRT, I use that on the whole body down the bladder meridian to open up the neck and just get the movement again going. I don't use that with every client because not every client can tolerate that level of vibration. But for the ones that have been working with us for a while, I find if I do that for 5 or 10 minutes, or one of my staff does before they go on to one of the other outfits, they get just that much more of a benefit. And then they can push out their care, because as much as we love to see clients don't love to see us at our office that often. They like to space out to their appointments. Right. And I only like to space out appointments because they're getting better. Yeah. I'm fine with it as long as they're getting better. Yeah. And so I find that this tends to, once somebody's at a certain level, it kinds to push them where their other treatment is now about 1.5 times as effective by just doing the RRT first, because it really loosens the fascia and the lymphatics.
And then the laser is Lymph Star. You could talk about that.
So the Lymph Star is 2 globes. They're basically light bulbs that sit in certain areas. There's 3 noble gases in these globes, and they create a vibrational acoustic sound massage. You know, it's been theorized that the cells in all of the universe is just it's a vibration, right? And it's all just sound. And really the cells respond to light and sound. And so when you have this vibrational sound and it's also emitting light, the lymph responds. So we often just blast those areas, those same node areas we talked about, for really, really stuck people. So you sent us a client that had a cavitational surgery. I remember that was the pit story I was thinking about. And she was a young woman, like 18 or something. She may have even been younger than that. And she was her first cavitational surgery wasn't 100% successful. She had to go back to it, and she had all this puffy. So we came in, we did lymph. I think it was 2 days before she had her cavitational surgery. She had the cavitational surgery and literally the next day had pits. Like pits, and she was thrilled because she could now wear t-shirts. And as a young girl, she had never been able to wear like sleeveless shirts, and that was embarrassing. And now she can wear sleeveless shirts because she has pits. Yeah, that was only the beginning, and it was because, you know, I postulate that part of the reason her cavitational surgery wasn't as massively successful as it could have been was because her lymph was so stagnant. While it got out of here, it didn't go anywhere, so it just reinfected, and it needed to move out. And now that it moves out, I know she's doing very good.
She has some serious stagnant lymph. I mean, no doubt. Yeah, she's doing better.
Yeah, good.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, I have to, this will make you laugh a little bit. Corey Carter, if you're out there watching, I give you credit for showing me the Lymph Star first.
Yes.
And explaining how amazing Lymph is. No, he's a great trainer. You know, he is.
Yes,
So I did want to give him credit, because I remember when we did a Facebook Live, he was like, I showed you that first. I was like, he did. He really did, Kelly. So
but I got him to sleep around, Corey. That's the difference. I got him to sleep around. No, I'm kidding. No, you know, it's the thing is, you know, you were focused on other things at the time, right? You were going through your own journey, and now you're at a point where you can help others with this level, and Corey was a huge piece of that, and we thank him so much for his access.
Oh no, he's a great teacher, great guy. Okay, so the Prezzo, talk about that, because people that came to my seminar that used it, it was like, again, I fall asleep when I go in it, you know, major parasympathetic stimulator, but it works really different from the Lymph. Explain what it is.
So Flow Prezzo uses the concept of deep compression to relax the sympathetic nervous system, number one. So it's a suit that was originally, Desiree really biohacked, if you will, with some engineers, some other equipment that was on the market.
Desiree was the lymph goddess that she referred to, you know,
yes.
in another part of the world, literally.
Yes,
They created this.
And she created it because we were frustrated with the fact that while the Lymph Star was awesome and it helped the lymph, it doesn't do much for the fascia, and it doesn't do much to put somebody in a parasympathetic mode. Right. And what we know is if somebody's in a parasympathetic mode, their lymph moves. And so what's interesting for me is with the COVID, we've had so many people that want body therapy, but they're scared to go do it. They're scared to let somebody touch them. And Flow Prezzo's timing, it was only launched in February of this year. I mean, we had a prototype for the year before, but the launch was in February and COVID hits in March. And now we're open with people going, I want to get body work. And I'm like, come in. You can be in a room by yourself. You can stay clothed. You can feel like your whole body's massaged from your feet, your legs, your abdomen, and your arms. And what it does is it compresses like a hug and then releases. Hug, release, hug, release in a nice sequence from your feet to your legs, to your abdomen, to your arms, and all over again. There's also infrared in the suit, which the infrared is helping your mitochondria. It's helping you detoxify. It's also helping soften the tissue for the fascia, to allow the fascia to move more, which allows the lymph to move more. And then there's pulse electromagnetic field technology that's employed at a specific point to help release the emotions. So this suit, and we use a few other things in the center to cover their eyes, put some affirmations over their ears, because you're laying there for 40 minutes. You need a little bit of entertainment to get you out of your brain, get you out of that sympathetic. And you can use sounds, you can use different things, but we often use affirmations because people need more self-love, we find. And what this does is most people, by the second or third round, I'm like, no, let me know if that compression's okay. It shouldn't feel like a squeeze. It should feel like a hug. And they're already starting to fall asleep. I'm like, stay with me. You're going to have 40 minutes of this and we're 4 minutes in. Stay with me to make sure your compressions are right. And that's the biggest challenge, is to keep somebody awake on this.
I was out the first time. I think I even felt, in my own seminar, this is when it was first. Yeah, I mean, I'm all revved up, right? I still fell asleep. I went on and I had like, I have an hour break. And I went on it and I was like, I still fell asleep. Yeah. It's remarkable. Practitioners watching, we'll put a link if you want one of these, because it's just now being offered in the United States. So this is, like you said, I mean, this is brand new.
There's only about 20 in in Canada and the United States right now, and it's amazing opportunity for all of us to help our clients, give them a condition in which they find themselves in comfort because they don't have to have another practitioner in the room. And honestly, from a practitioner standpoint, once you understand the philosophy and the paradigm of flow, fascia, lymph, overall wellness, my technique, it's very simple to administer. It doesn't take a lot of complex understanding. It might, I mean, if you're in this world, you understand what happens when people drain out their toxic loads. Anything can happen, right? Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're versed in that, but we're here to help you and support you, because we want everybody's dams to be open and let the water flow out, let the lymph flow out. And Flow Prezzo has been, hands down, in all honesty, the most beneficial piece of equipment we've brought onto the practice, because it does the thing of putting people into the parasympathetic mode. It allows them to relax. And through COVID, that's how the South Carolina thing happened. You know, we wanted to open up a space down here, but we have a dentist friend that's down here, and his clients were so stressed, they were cracking teeth. I mean, over and over, like that was his first 3 weeks of COVID. He did nothing but work on cracked teeth because of people's stress. So I said, we got to get Flowpresso down there and start to relax these people, because that's not a good, you can't heal if you're in that state.
No, it's a great device. Yeah. My doctor's watching, will be happy they can actually get them now. So, and they're like, you know, before it was just the, what do you call it? The
prototype.
Now
the prototype, but now the launch is out there. We have marketing now. We have Flow Show, which airs every Wednesday night on 8:30 East Coast time, 7:30, you know, figured the rest out, 7:30 Mountain time. But myself and another colleague are doing a 10-minute show every week on how you can work your lymph at home to teach people about lymph.
Awesome.
Because the Flow Show, you like that name, Dr.
I like that. I love that. Yeah. All right. So you mentioned, I mean, you said fascia, lymph, and, you know, okay, general wellness. We didn't talk about fascia. And that's one of the things that, you know, that device actually, yes, it hits the lymph, but the fascia, it also affects, which what I've learned from you is that's a big deal. Look, for years, you know, I've known the benefits of lymph and opening it up and all the techniques, but I never really heard about the fascia connection until you explain it.
So we all have a skin, right? And under that skin is another layer that looks translucent-y and
turkey example.
Yeah, turkey. Well, I've been yelled at about the turkey example by all the vegans in the world.
Oh, no, come on. First of all, God bless the vegans here, but we have mostly meat eaters here, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, right, I forgot where I was.
Example. I mean, turkeys have skin.
Turkey is, so when you lift up the turkey to make your turkey and you throw all the butter and the oil and the fat in that to get all the good nutrients out of it, when you lift that up and you got that cellophane kind of stuff, that's your fascia. And that fascia is throughout your whole body, around every organ, around every joint. And that fascia is the skin under our skin. And that fascia is really its own nervous system, and it's complex in its communications. And I firmly believe this is where a lot of the emotional traumas are held as well. But if you overuse a joint or you're not in alignment, if your spine is in alignment, you can twist your fascia, and, there's so many things that can screw up your fascia, sitting long-term, whatever. But then think of it like pantyhose now. But if your fascia is your pantyhose and you overuse them, they shrink. What happens when your pantyhose shrink, ladies? They're hard to put on. They get runs in them. It's not good. And now the information can't flow. And so we want to get the pantyhose to be the right size. When the pantyhose are the right size, then all the fluid inside it can flow. If not, then it's going to get caught up. It's going to have detour problems. And scars will influence your fascia. Scars are an impediment to healing. And so if you have a scar, I have a 12-inch scar on my head. That's how I got involved in fascia. I was in a car accident. I have a 12-inch
scar. Her story. Oh my gosh. We don't have time for her story, but her story's amazing.
Thank you. It's not as amazing as Daniel Jr.'s, however, because he raced me through the end game and got there in 12 weeks, what took me 20 years. So good job, because he got to biohack with all your information. It took me a long time to learn what Daniel knew already. But the fascia gets screwed up because of different aspects of physical life, and then the lymph inside it gets clogged. So the fascia and the lymph work together to get this flow to happen. And fascia, I think honestly, we haven't begun to understand the fascia, to be honest with you. I think I'm barely scratching the surface of what the fascia is really about. And there's a great little YouTube fuzz speech, it's called. It's this really geeky Gil. His name's Gil, and he's a forensic scientist, and he uses a cadaver to show people what the fascia is about. And it's a wonderful explanation of it called the fuzz speech. Because every night when we go to bed, our fascia gets tight again, and we got to open the fascia up. So that's why it's good to move. I mean, every morning we got dogs. What's the first thing? You have your beautiful golden doodles over there that we know Marilee loves and loves and loves. Where are the golden doodles? Right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the first thing they do every morning? They stretch.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Why don't we? And when I do, and I'm sure you do too, I crack and pop every single time because it's my fascia opening. Now my fascia is open. Now my lymph can move. And the more that I can flow out my toxins, again, I hate to be a broken record, but the healthier I'm going to be. Now, lifestyle, definitely, I don't want to put more toxins in and just work on getting them out faster. I want to clean up my lifestyle. I want to make sure that what I'm putting in is good because I've educated myself through Cell TV, through True Cellular Detox, through Revelation Health. I've been able to educate myself about how to not feed the beast.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to feed it, but I'm also going to get it out. And I work very little at being healthy, to be honest with you. I mean, I do a flow presso at least once a week, mostly because, like any good addict, I make sure that I stay true to my addiction. And I love flow presso because it keeps me calmer.
Yeah.
You know, Marilee and I are very similar energies, y'all. Very similar energies. Those of you who have met Marilee and I, it's difficult to get a word in edgewise when Marilee and I are in the car.
I actually like it. I don't have to say anything. I can just say and listen until you all turn around and go, you know, do you have anything to say about this? So I have a few things.
But, you know, my energy can't be here all the time because I'm not recovering. And being in that parasympathetic mode really helps me recover. And that's what flow presso is about. The side effect, honestly, is the lymphatic flow. Mm-hmm. The reality is it puts you in a deep state of relaxation.
Yeah, it sure does.
It allows the lymph to flow. And there's two settings, two programs within that. One that works more of a restoration and one that works recovery. And the recovery one is a compress and hold throughout the whole body, and then one big release, which is really more working with that fascia. So for athletes or you know, your star pupil, fasters that really want to optimize their bodies and they're pushing hard, this is a great way to recover a lot. And really that's what we looked at with you and Mare, because when you guys had come to the center, it was honestly just weeks after Daniel had jumped and your stress level was 130%. And so when you guys got there, you were able to just finally relax.
Honestly, that's why I slept around. I mean, honestly, it just was like,
yeah.
I swear that weekend, you know, may have saved me from other issues because that was one of the most stressful times of our life, obviously, almost losing our son. And if people don't know that story, my son literally went off a 60-foot cliff and hit rock after dropping 50 feet, and he should have been dead, but he's not. I mean, thank God. He's not even paralyzed.
He's thriving. He's not just, he's thriving. If you don't know a story, you need to know a story. He needs to write books about a story. He needs to be on television about a story. Yeah. His story is incredible. And I don't think we paid enough attention to it, honestly, because it was not even last July or August. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's been about a year.
Yep.
And it's hardly talked about. Like, that kid
because, you know,
is a miracle.
It was so trauma that it was like, you're right. It's like, we almost like don't want to go back there right now. It's like you get freed from something and you don't, but you're right. It needs to be, I'm going to get him to write the book, you know, and I haven't even interviewed him, you know, specifically him. Marilee, myself, and him. Actually, put the link in here, but we did an interview together.
We did that one cellular TV that was awesome.
Yeah, I'll put the link in there because people are like, I don't know the story, you know, but that's the story. But I need to actually, one-on-one with Daniel because I want just to hear his mindset through it. So.
Yeah, it's been enough time now. But the point is the body has the ability to heal.
Yeah.
And everything he was doing from the TRT, which also helps with the lymphatic flow, there's more than just what we have. Listen, I love flow presso, but I also know, and so does Desiree, we're in the age of technology, and we're just taking ancient wisdom and combining it with technology to get the amazing results that we get. And right now, flow presso is the the top of the charts. It's the cutting edge technology. 5 years from now, that might not be true.
Yeah.
So we're not attached to the equipment. We're attached to the concept of what the lymph is. And right now, this is the best thing out there. It's less than $10,000 for anybody to purchase it. So it's affordable, and the return on investment in a center is incredible.
Yeah.
We're giving a discount during coronavirus because people need this.
Yeah, the link that you have, she's giving us a greater discount. We have a lot of practitioners who are going to want it for their office.
You have to put the code in of Pompa. You have to put the code of Pompa in to get that discount. But, you know, this is now the time, you know, not only as practitioners to be able to help those clients, but for the clients to get the care without the fear. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, by the way, when I was at the office too, I had I had a physical fascia release manual technique that your person did. You know, you tried to steal.
Matter of fact, I should really come get that this weekend. It was just so amazing. She was amazing. But anyways, it was different than a massage therapy. The goal is to release the fascia, which affects the lymph. So
and we work fascia and lymph together, and I don't know anybody else that's doing that. You know, there's only 60 trained fascia specialists in the United States. 60.
Yeah.
Plus one.
Amazing.
Plus one.
Yeah.
But I've created my own technique called Flow, and we're starting to train. We're putting the curriculum together, Desiree and I, to train people with this, because when you work the fascia, the lymph, and the muscle, because it's one unit, you know, it's just like separating out mind and body. Good luck. You know, everybody says, oh, I went to my medical doctor. He's just a physical doctor. Yeah, you think he's not working in your emotional body? You're crazy, because you can't separate it. He might not be intentional about it, or she, but that doctor that's putting that injection in your arm to give you the flu shot was also working on your emotional body. It just maybe wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
And we need to be more intentional and more conscious so that we have more responsibility for what this body does and doesn't do. And you're an amazing pioneer, Dr. Pompa. I almost called you Dan. Dr. Pompa. Truly, you're an incredible pioneer to teach people how to take responsibility for their own health, take responsibility for their own lives through their health, through their nutrition, through what's on the end of their fork. Or maybe they're eating too much, and it's okay to fast, and it's okay to water fast, and it's okay to dry fast. I'm into all of it now. And, you know, it's okay to do all that, because my husband and I, we each lost about 10 pounds during the coronavirus because we were fasting more, because I finally took the time to employ what you had taught us.
Mm-hmm.
And I had done intermittent fasting a little bit, but I'd never done real fasting. Yeah. And it was amazing. And we both felt better. We were brighter, clearer minded, because that's the point. The body has the power to heal.
But you know what, when you and I came together, it was like this perfect harmony, because, you know, when you're fasting, how much all these physical things, you can't put this in a bottle. These are things y'all can do right now. And so many of my viewers are fasters. Add this. That's why, you know, that's why we have Kelly on here. You know, this is, and again, lymph products, that's one thing, but you can't duplicate what we're talking about, right? I mean, you can't put this stuff in a bottle. You have to do all of it, and that's what
so many of your clients know Tommy, right?
Yeah, Tommy Maho. Yeah, I interviewed him here. Yeah,
I saw that. So Tommy was a perfect example. So his fascia was tight from that accident from when he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So we start working his fascia. Now he was able to get an occipital release. He was able to get all these other therapies. His lymph started to move. His pain in his pelvis area started to calm down as he moved his lymph, because while he was detoxing, it wasn't shifting some of the tissue because the lymph wasn't moving. Once we shift the tissue, the toxins come out. He continues to get better. I haven't seen Tommy now in months because of the COVID, but he's continuing, I know, with you and myself and doing work, and he's continuing to get better because his body's doing the job, and he now knows how to move his lymph.
All right, and this is the last point. You brought up the stress effect on the lymphatic system. And you even said with fascia that a lot of the traumas are trapped in the fascia, right? So one of the most amazing things that I experienced at your office was this system using your own heart, literally your own heart rhythm, as far as releasing stored emotions and trapped emotions. And I'll tell you, I don't think there's a device out there that can even do this. I mean, there's a lot of other therapies. There's tapping. I believe in all of it. But this is the only device that you have to explain it because it's unbelievable.
Thank you. I'm very honored. I mean, Flow Prezzo and this I feel are my gifts to the world, that I have worked for 20 years in this industry to find these two things that I know this is my, yours is to get them to sell detox, mine is to calm down and open their hearts.
Yeah.
And Sound of Soul is what Dr. Pompa is referring to. And it's a technology that was created by Rasmus Gaut-Bergenhausen in Austria, who worked directly with Masaru Emoto, the water crystal guy. And what Rasmus got frustrated with is not everybody, he didn't find it was duplicatable to talk to water and make it look beautiful crystals under the specific conditions. But he found if he played their heart rate frequencies, and Dan, Dr. Pompa and I really agree about this, then everybody is beautiful in their hearts. Because everybody made beautiful water crystals. So when their heart rate frequency was played to water, everybody made beautiful water crystals. It doesn't matter if they're a mean, nasty person or a nice person, because at our hearts, we're all good. Inside of us is where the healing occurs, where our God part is. And when our heart rate variability is converted into light and music, that frequency of our heart rate is converted into frequency of light and music, and then that music might turn into harp, or it might turn into piccolo, or water waves, or bird sounds. But that frequency is resonant with us because it harmonizes with us. And when we harmonize, again, you go into that deep parasympathetic state, another place Dr. Pompa slept around. And they go in that deep parasympathetic state, and it allows the body to heal. And what's beautiful about this equipment is that you sit there for an hour, and maybe you have 5-7 sessions, and we see which ones are giving us the best heart rate variability readings and the best parasympathetics and the most hard opening based upon the most variability. Then we make an audio clip and we send it to you, and you can listen to it all the time until you no longer get a visceral reaction from that. That means because you're vibrating at a higher level. So now it's maybe once every 2 to 3 months you go back and get another one. But what's beautiful about this is my mother just turned 80 last weekend. God bless her. She takes no medication. She doesn't listen to much of what I say. She's got a mouthful of amalgams. That's for another story. But God bless her. What she does have is faith. She taught me faith. And I put her on the Sound of Soul, and I was blown away at how strong her heart was, because I know she's got disease in here. I mean, mouthful of amalgam since she was 9 years old. Crazy as a lunatic. I hope she never watches this. I love my mother, but not a rational woman.
She got the mercury out of her brain. She wouldn't be, but another story.
Dude, she tried to vote by and she sealed the envelope. She had to open the envelope up. She put it in the microwave, and it lit on fire. Hand to God. Like, pure comedy. Love her. But she's got faith. I put her on the Sound of Soul. Her heart's open. Her parasympathetics are up. And I looked at her and was like, she's going to live to be 120, just like the Bible says we're going to be. I know she is. Yeah. Because she has an open heart. Yeah. And it was beautiful to listen to it. And it was also a challenge for me, because my mother and I are like oil and water. And it was hard for me to harmonize with her. Once I got on that, we've had a better relationship in the last 2 weeks than we've had in 46 years.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I want to bring the science to it a little bit. So
yeah, sorry.
That's set the stage.
Tell stories.
Yeah, the stories is actually what make people really understand the value of this, right? So, but the body frequency. I've been studying frequency and understanding its impact on health, cells, right? The science is all around it. It makes so much sense to me, because the body will literally create the frequencies it needs to heal. Oftentimes the interference and the stressors are so much, but the heart rhythm is a frequency. That's capturing right. The very innate intelligence own frequency, and then giving it back to the body as a treatment. I just think it's the most amazing thing.
I agree.
It makes so much scientific sense to me that yes, of course. And I have to tell you this story. the first time Marilee used it. We're sitting there and you're explaining it to her.
Oh, you're going to tell that part?
Okay, boom. And it starts, she goes, okay, so now, your heart, you hear your heart, right? And she's like, yeah, the music with it, was it me? And all of a sudden she just starts crying. And I'm like, what do you have, something in your eye? What do you then I realize she's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? And her and I are having this conversation, and Kelly goes, oh no, I didn't tell you that many people cry the first time they get on it. It's an emotional release, but I was like, that to me was it. I was sold, because I know my wife don't cry. Okay. She just doesn't.
But she's
cry.
A very heart-centered person. She's
is.
full of love.
Yeah.
She gives, and she's constantly trying to help others. And
Always.
And for me, I mean, the first time I met Marilee, it was quite the conversation. It was she had no idea she was preaching to me, but she was, and she was speaking directly to my heart. And I was so happy to be able to give this back to her. And I wanted her to feel that regardless of everything else, like, she's gorgeous on the outside, we know that, but on the inside, to see that inner beauty. And she's had some challenges in her life and her family and so forth. And this was a way for me to help let her see how amazing she is, because we know, in all honesty, Dr. Pompa gets a lot of the limelight, right? He's on the front stage oftentimes, but many of you don't know how hard she works in the back scenes to make so much of this happen.
Right.
Honestly, Dan and Dr. Pompa and I wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Marilee, I think.
I wouldn't know anyone, actually. She keeps me connected to the world.
And what's great about that is when she harmonizes with her, which is what happened that day. Yeah. We put that sound out there, and she went, I feel harmony, and she cried.
Resonant frequency.
God bless her. She lives in a house with like 17 men and one woman once in a while. Her daughter's around once in a while. No wonder she's been traveling.
She's counting fish and dogs and everything. Yeah, she's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of men in Marilee's life.
What you described, though, is that resonant frequency, right? When frequencies match, boom, the power goes up. And that's exactly what she experienced in that moment, and it was just powerful stuff. So point is that, look, I mean, we know this, everyone watching this knows, trapped emotions, traumas, they cause disease just like a toxin. And, this device can be transformed. Do we have a code for this for the people watching?
Pompa. They'll do the Pompa code as well.
I mean, do we have a link for
Sound of Soul?
Sound of Soul, yeah.
Yeah, and it's on the Not Meds website, which is the new website I created over the coronavirus. So Not Meds stands for Naturally Oriented Therapist, Medically Enlightened Doctors and Specialists, which Dr. Pompa will be a guest on our podcast soon, which it doesn't launch until the 11th of July, which is after this, I'm sure. But the Not Meds is a way to access Flow Prezzo, Sound of Soul, and the Flow technology, the technique.
All right. Yeah.
It separates it out from the clinic.
Yeah, because we have a lot of practitioners that watch it, and I'm a believer in the technology massively. It just resonates to me. Whereas there's so much woo-woo in so many emotional things, and I say that without even being critical. I say that with, like, for me, I have to kind of grab onto the science of things still, and
so did I.
And that doesn't discredit it, I'd be clear. But the science around this makes so much sense to me. And that's why,
one of the things we've talked about is that I meditated, I tried yoga, I tried all that, and I couldn't walk through the door that everybody was waiting for me to walk through and be like, oh, now I'm enlightened, and how do I get there? Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. The first time I did Sound of Soul, I felt it in my heart, like the sacred heart. Like, I literally felt the sacred heart in my heart. I held my heart when I did it. I was full on crying. Now, I was with the creator, Rasmus, when he did it on me. But I changed that day. I was never the same, because I'm very intelligent. There's no doubt about it. Dr. Pompa, you're very intelligent. And I love to think, and I love to have what I call brain sex. And that's one of the things I love about Dr. Pompa. We have a lot of brain sex. We talk about a lot of science. But my heart, I start coming from my heart, and everything changed. Because I could still employ this, but I was coming from here, and I knew exactly where to go, where to be, because now my innate intelligence, my God part, was leading me.
Yeah.
And that changed it for me. And I think what he's created with Sound the Soul is here to heal the world. It's in 26 countries. They're using it in Italy in the labor and delivery center to help women fall asleep and wake them up to tell them it's time to push because now they're 10 centimeters dilated. It's working as though it's an not an anesthetic, but when they put you under, I can't think of the word, anesthesia. Yeah, it's working like an anesthesia. And they did a heart stent at that same hospital in Italy while doing no anesthesia, but Sound the Soul. In China, not that we want to really talk about China right now, but China, in the hospitals there, they use acupuncture to put people under, not anesthesia. What if you could use Sound the Soul? No drugs, nothing to do for your liver to flush out. Wow, wouldn't that be different?
Wow. Huge.
Huge.
Imagine. Not
to mention that every heartbeat in our body is completely unique to any heartbeat before and after it. That is amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
You think the innate intelligence doesn't know? I mean, that's how it sends frequency out through the body, It's
responding to all of life. And it's all the whole system is based upon the Fibonacci series, and they can watch Rasmus speak. And if you ever want to interview him, I could get you an interview with Rasmus.
I would love that. Ashley, you heard that. Yes.
I'll make that happen for you because Rasmus is, I feel so stupid when I'm in a room with Rasmus. I feel so dumb. When you watch this hour and a half, which is available on BRMI, which you're an advisor on that board, on Bioregulatory Medicine Institute .online, which is a resource, a nonprofit, non-commercial website that's just purely here to educate you and give you empirical-based evidence, mostly from not this country and Europe and so forth, about all these technologies that Dr. Pompa talks about, that I talk about, all the techniques we talk about. It's all empirical-based evidence, all there. But if you go there, you can watch the events from 2018 when Rasmus was speaking, and you can watch the entire hour and a half that he spoke. It's more math and science than you could possibly put in a book. Like, it's crazy what he explained. And I went up to him afterward. Everybody was, scrambling to talk to the instructor, and I waited my turn, and we got all done, and I said, I just have one question. How old are you? And he looked at me like I had 4 heads, and I was like, I just want to know how old you are, because most of my mentors, no offense, are in their 70s. And I have a lot to learn from you, and I need a few decades, I think, to get there. And he's my age. He's 46. So he's got a lot to teach us, and I'm really looking forward to you being able to interview him and take his message out to the world.
One time, and I wish I had more time. Yeah, we'd love to interview him here. So we'll make sure we put up Kelly's information, how to contact her at her clinic. So we'll make sure that, but you can you even just give it verbally here. So
the website is thetruewellnesscenter.com. That'll take you to our Philadelphia area and our South Carolina near the Hilton Head area clinics. And then notmeds.com is also where my podcast is going to be launched, as well as where a lot of our YouTube channel is, as well as the information on Flow Prezzo and Sound the Soul.
Yeah, that's great. Well, great information, Kel. Gosh, I just love hanging out with you. You see that we just geeked out there with the whole.
I know, and I'm sorry I looked a little distracted. In all honesty, I'm 20 minutes late for an appointment, but I just told them that I gotta go. That I've be late for them because this is important. Yeah. Because what you're doing for us, I really appreciate everything you do at Cell TV, and I promote you and your book and get people to fast, and you've just enhanced my life in many ways when I met you just a year ago.
Well, likewise. I slept around your office. I promise I won't do it again.
I hope you come back soon and sleep around South Carolina instead of Florida this time. Or come to South Carolina instead of Florida.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I might absolutely take you up on that. So appreciate you, Kel. Thanks for all the information.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pompa.
Changing lives every day. Appreciate you.
Talk to you soon.
Well, that's it for this week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. This episode was brought to you by Cyto Detox. Please check it out at buycytonow.com. We'll be back next week and every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
We truly appreciate your support. You can always find us at cellularhealing.tv, and please remember to spread the love by liking, subscribing, giving an iTunes review, and sharing the show with anyone you think may benefit from the information heard here. And as always, thanks for listening.